Mr. Earl Kreitz was born on March 10, 1926, in Wilmsdorf, Pennsylvania. He grew up in a family of 6 children. His father's occupation was a steel mill worker, while his mother stayed home to take care of the family. Mr. Kreitz had a good childhood and years leading up to his adulthood. 2 of his brothers were in the service. One was in the Navy, and the other one was in General Patton's army in Germany. Before Mr. Kreitz went off to war, he worked as a hosiery knitter, and at the age of 24, he was drafted into the Korean War.
2 days before he left for training in Fort Eustis, Virginia, he was married to his wife, Pat. Pat and his family sent him off with good wishes, and they were all very proud of him. Life at the training grounds was not too strenuous, and it went well. He was very good at shooting and didn't find basic training too difficult.
Mr. Earl Kreitz then went off to Germany in 1951. He went to transportation school and served his duty. He recalled that the 10-day boat ride over was the hardest part. He was sick the majority of the way over. After finally arriving in Germany, he went to transportation school in Frankfurt. Transportation school lasted from October 1951 to December 1951. During the 6 weeks, Mr. Kreitz learned how to take care of the trucks and all of the training necessities.
Mr. Kreitz was moved to a base in Mannheim, Germany. At the base, there were close to 50 other men. The men worked from around 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning to around 5 o'clock at night. On the base, Mr. Kreitz made many friendships, but 4 or 5 especially close ones, in which he remained in contact with them for a number of years following the war. As a corporal, Mr. Kreitz took care of 57 vehicles, checking and taking care of the mileage and oil changes. He also took part in war maneuvers. He explained one maneuver in particular.
When we were on maneuvers, it was snowing. There were 2 feet of snow on the ground, and we had to dig a hole in the snow and take our combat boots off and crawl into a, what do you call those?
Sleeping bag.
Sleeping bag. And tanks were going along the edge of the field, and I was a little weary that they would run over us because you didn't have no lights on. We were on maneuvers at that time, and it was really quite an experience to sleep in the snow.
While in Germany, Mr. Earl Kreitz had many experiences during his off-duty time. On the weekends, the other men and him were taken for sightseeing. Though Germany is a lot like Pennsylvania in his opinion, there were very different things as well. While on an off-duty excursion, he went to Garmisch, a German resort town. He also visited beautiful churches that had wooden carvings coming out of the ceilings and huge extravagant castles. These trips helped Mr. Kreitz and the others cope with their missing loved ones. Near Christmas time in Germany, the other soldiers and Mr. Kreitz were in charge of hosting a party for orphans.
Having a party for orphans, which we set up in our garage, and I don't know how many, about 20, 25 orphans there were, I think. And we got them presents and gave them something to eat.
Another time, in a town, he saw the aftermath of World War II, when elderly people were digging in the trash cans for food. These experiences really opened up Mr. Kreitz's eyes, and he saw how lucky he was in America.
Mr. Earl Kreitz was honorably discharged on August 18, 1952. He had the chance to move up the ranks and become a sergeant, but chose not to because he would have had to go to Korea then. When he came home, his wife Pat and him went on their long-awaited honeymoon. He recounted that he acted differently when he came home because it was completely different from what he had become used to. There was no discipline like there was in the service, and it took some time getting used to. The Army made him appreciate his home, possessions, and life even more, and he believes it made him into a stronger, more well-rounded person.
Okay.
You appreciate your life, really, compared to what some got to go through.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing like the United States of America.
After coming home, Mr. Earl Kreitz got the chance at a job offer in the medical field and ended up working in the medical business for 43 years until he retired. Mr. Kreitz is very proud of his time in the service and still has people come up to him and give them thanks for his time. He strongly believes that every young man should have his chance in the Army since it teaches discipline and you really appreciate your home, surroundings, and loved ones.
We thank you, Mr. Kreitz, for your service in the Korean War. Your efforts are and were appreciated by many.